Hello, everyone. What a beautiful day in the Claus neighborhood. Welcome to Monday. That's right. Can't only be one Monday, and we are here. North Pole Happy Hour. And today, as always, I have Phineas T. Elf,
Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Hey, good to
Randall
see.
Checker
Hi,
Lee.
everybody. Great to see you here. Glad you're here. Great to see you, Bob Phineas. Everybody had a wonderful week.
It's been a good week. We got lots of rain here in the North Texas area, which is a big change for us because it's been high and dry for months on end, and we really needed it. And I tell you, it's crazy, man. Our grass was totally brown. Everything was brown, from the single digit temperatures we had, a month and a half ago. And walk outside the next day after almost 4 inches of rain, and everything is green. We got plants sprouting up everywhere.
Wow.
Amazing how quick the turnaround was, and of course, time jumped forward this week, so that's got most of us, in a daze. I know for many folks, they don't like having to switch time backwards and forth, and there's a couple of states that don't do it, and so it's just something we kind of have to get used to unless we can get the federal government to make the changes. Now, our brothers up north, up around the North Pole area where Phineas is, they don't have to worry about that. There's no time zones.
Well, it's all the time zones, actually, but
There you go. That's for
Wow.
certain. Well, and I was just mentioning to Randall a moment ago, it's 78 degrees and mostly cloudy here today. The sun is out right now, but, uh, it's humid because, again, all the rain that we've had is filtering back up into the atmosphere. So it's been kind of hot and sticky today. And, it's that time of year for us, Randall. How's your weather?
Wow. We're pretty lucky. Today was 68, kind of cloudy. It's been a lot of rain also. There had crazy storms on the western side of Michigan. A couple tornadoes hit the western side of Michigan. It was crazy, crazy weather over there. But we've been lucky. It's great to look out and because I live on a lake, it's great to see the water instead of the ice on it. Now the ice is all gone. And see that little ripple and the sunshine on it. See the little glimmers. It's been totally different view out of the rooms when it's ice on the lake or when it's water. It's it's cool to see the lake. Lake is water.
Now, how's the weather up at the northernmost station of TNL Studios where you are, Phineas?
well, it's about 66 degrees and sunny here, and quite similar to Randall. It's the snow is melting. There's not a lot of ice here, but it definitely is muddy up here. So we got lots of mud. So
Yeah,
And
that is
potholes.
part of the
oh,
transitional period. Is
Pothole season.
mhm.
Boy, I hit some rough potholes yesterday driving. Man, wow. I'm not driving that road ever again. I mean, it's going to be.
how's some municipalities up there as far as coming around in the springtime and fixing after the ice and snow for you guys?
I don't know how it is where Phineas is at, but it's funny. They come with the big, huge truck, and they got all that, the ash stuff or the black.
Hot
And they
asphalt.
dump it out and they pat it. Well, that's not enough to. It fills it, but it doesn't cure it or solid it. Another car rolls over, a little bit comes off, a little bit. So it's basically emptied in a couple days. Those holes, they fix it.
Yeah,
It's it's oh well. They try. Let's put it. I'll put it that way. I'll
They
be
try.
polite.
they give their best shot at it, but it's
Yeah,
like a cheap
right.
bandage. Every so often, it's just gonna peel right out after getting used again. So it is what
First,
it is. So
Yeah,
first
they
time it
can't. You know,
rains, it's just
they
a
can
deep
just
pothole again.
put a halfway band-aid over it for a little while, and
Mhm.
so the smaller ones work, but the bigger ones, and it's too. It's too much of that. You can't. They can't. This guy's just standing with the little tamper for a few seconds. The truck's still moving, so he's got to catch up, and so he's
Yeah.
not backing it hard enough to make it. So, but
Now
I,
I know here in our area, every once in a while they'll bring one of the steamrollers out if they've got a lot of patching to do, if they're patching larger areas, and they'll steamroll it. But again, first time it rains, once or twice, and the cars run over it a few times, it starts breaking up, and before you know it, you're right back where you was, and then some. So, hey,
yeah,
give them credit.
yeah, it's a
Might
hard
be
job. It's a hard job. I know I wouldn't want to do it. It is a hard job. So I feel sorry for the guys. It's not easy, and no and nobody's happy with them. So they're like. don't do that. Like people loving you, you know, you're fixing it, but they hate you anyway because you're not. So it's kind of a thankless job, which is too bad. They work hard.
Job security. Kudos to those guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our inspirational moment of the day. Angela, you got that ready to play?
Santa B.
Ho, 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 and happy day, my friends. Santa B here with you again today. And today, I want to build some on what we talked about last week. Here at the North Pole Happy Hour Live, we are worried about making sure you have everything you need, not just to have your best season yet, but to have your best tomorrow yet. And so today, one of the things that I want to talk about is that idea of wellness I touched on some last time. And when I'm talking about wellness, one of the first things I encourage people to do is start to think about, what do you even look like when you're well? What does wellness look like for you? For some of us, it's about being quiet. Sometimes it's being introspective. Sometimes it's being loud. Sometimes it's being joking. Sometimes it's being jolly. You never know what it is. But one of the things that I encourage you to do is write down what you look like when you're doing well. Because if we're not paying attention to what we look like when we're doing well, all we focus on is what we look like when we're not doing well. I guarantee we can all come up with a pretty good list of what's wrong. Today, I'd like for you to look at what's right. Think about those things. Ask yourself that question. Ask your spouse or your partner or a friend, what do you look like when you're doing well? Write those things down. Keep them as your target. And know where you're going. Let your wellness be your guiding star. Be blessed. Be well. Love you all.
Well, he's like fine wine. He just ages so well, doesn't he? This message just, it just resonates. It really does.
So true. You should kind of, even your physical look, should kind of like take a either a picture or a thought process. Hey, look, this is what I feel like when I'm looking well. And you look in the mirror and you see that, and it's like, wait a minute, I get up in the morning, that's not, even if it's, just to see that part of it, or to know if when you're happy. Hey, I'm just sitting around, whatever, smiling. And the other day I'm grumpy and my eyebrows are down. So that's a good thing to think about. Know when you're feeling well and keep an eye on it.
I know Phineas doesn't know anything about being grumpy.
Oh, no, nothing at all.
The happiest elf on earth.
Hey, you know what? The elf also has a big appetite.
Hungry again, Phineas. Are you hungry again?
For an appetizer, Bob?
What's that?
Are you saying it's about time for an appetizer?
It is, but I said it's kind of a reputation that's been thrown at you from, the likes of Santa Doug. So anyway,
Santa Doug and I are going to have a talk because he apparently blames the elf for everything too. So we're gonna have a chat at some point.
I hear you. Well, it's all in fun. Let's roll that Elf Appetizer.
Well, now, that's not just a burger, that's a statement. Welcome to the Elf Appetizer, where we get straight to the meat of the hot topics. Stop drooling, fellas. We're just getting started. We stack it high. Truth, humor, a little heat, and we don't nibble around the edges. So pull up a chair, loosen that belt, and let's take a real bite out of this thing. Let's carve into it.
You can't help but smile. I'm sorry. It's hilarious. Doug's got to get us double thumbs up, man. It's a smiler, The expressions he put on everybody's face is dynamite.
Definitely is.
I promise I'll share the bacon with you in real life. Don't worry. So,
all right, Phineas, let's go ahead and jump into this and see what we get from this one today.
So the big question we've got this week is: should Christmas performers publicly post their rates or keep pricing private to avoid undercutting? And my comment on that is that I keep pricing private because I price based on the event. I don't have a set rate. We have set rates for certain things we do, like home visits and such like that. But if we're doing a corporate event and it's a multi-day event, or if it's a multi-hour event, pricing depends on how much we have to travel, how far we have to travel, what they're asking for, what all they want. So we keep our rates private because we also give discounts to regular customers because it's like a loyalty discount. But there's lots of stuff that we do that makes putting up it costs this much for a home visit, it costs this much for this, it costs this much for this. No. So it's not really to avoid undercutting. It's because there are different types of events and our pricing is dynamic based on what kind of event.
Totally perfectly said. Exactly. Think like mine too. If it was magic all them years or clowning or Santa, it wasn't that I worried about being undercut. Even though there's always somebody out there that's going to, they can get your pricing you if they call, or if you're doing gig salad, they can do. There's plenty of ways if they want to undercut you, they can do that. It's exactly what Phineas said. There's too many things you can upscale, sell, or customers. It's too many variations to have one cut and dried $150 an hour or whatever price is. It's too variable. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about the undercutting, even though that can happen. That was never my concern either. But it's because you would have to have a full page, and I don't think you'd even figure out. If it's a 2-hour shift, if it's a 6-hour shift, if it's a 5-day, so there's so many variables to change. Or like he says, sometimes you want to give a deal to a regular. So I mean, there are some people I know in the magic business that were people that just did undercutting, and there's one gentleman that performs here a lot in the metro area that he just came in to one market and undercut everybody to do magic. He basically almost gave his shows away for free. I mean, not free, but they were that low. I mean, they were like, but he got into it, and was his tactic. I don't agree with it, but that's not, hopefully that's not the Santa heart either. It's to undercut a fellow Santa or Mrs. Claus or Elf. That's hopefully not the way either. So
Yeah, and I understand too that different markets dictate different prices. It depends on what's size market you're in, where you're located, if you're rural, if you're in the heart of the city, if you're in a small town. It all makes a difference. But I, it's kind of funny because this is a question I've been working on for several days, and then I saw today when I first got up this very topic being discussed on Facebook. So it is something that some folks think that there's guys that come along behind them and undercut their prices. So that's kind of where the question came from.
and I understand a lot of new Santas probably don't know what to charge.
Right.
And they're just checking to see. Well, give me an idea. Is it still the $10 an hour like it was 25 years ago, or can I make $200 an hour right away from a? Or so some are maybe just for personal education that way to help them out, but hopefully it's not for. But that's why we have associations and luncheons and groups. Pick up a phone, text, email. I am somebody from Facebook. You get to know somebody and find out that information that way, which is different, to ask a big.
How many times have you seen where someone posts that they don't charge, that they do it for free, and then they get ridiculed by everyone else for not charging? Which we all do some form of pro bono, charity work, a small portion, 10, 15, 20%, whatever you want to do. But there are a few out there that don't charge at all, and they think it's a sin that the rest of us do. And on the other hand, those who do, and then they are ridiculing again those who don't. So, that's part of what the free market is all about, though. And if you find your niche, you perform uh, as a professional, you have to charge something unless you're just sitting on a bucket of money. And I don't know many of us that have buckets full of money stacked around in the closet anywhere. So,
Yeah,
you have to recoup some of your cost.
it's
Yeah,
not.
I don't judge those who give their services away for free. Bless the fact that they are able to do that and that they
Yeah.
are able to afford that. But everything we do costs money, and if they're doing it as a charitable act, that is wonderful and good on them. And I will support them. I don't ridicule them because they are doing what they are comfortable doing. Same thing with the people who will say, I don't leave the house for less than $1,000. Good on them. And if they can do that, even better. I will support that because it hopefully will lift the market up for us. but that's the scoop, is that everybody will be able to charge what they can or what they feel comfortable doing, and let them do that. It's not ridiculing them. It's not valued about that. And I understand folks can get upset over, well, you're devaluing what we're giving, and it's like, well, no, they're actually hitting a different market.
That's the whole thing. There's so many different variations of what's out there. That there's enough corporate business and everything else, and for places that need charitable items. There should be enough in each market. If you're going to do a major corporation for free, that's probably not a good thing. That's not a good thing.
No.
But if you're doing honestly a good charitable thing, and nothing is really free that way. I mean, if you don't want to make money, but your travel time, your costs, your suits, your education, there's so much cost involved. Even if you could break even, would be, I mean, just would be good. But and if you don't want to take any, that's of course your business too. But I think there's enough business out there to, just like some people won't do malls, some people won't do home visits, some will, some won't. So there's plenty of variations for that. And to ridicule somebody because of that, no, it's
Well, there's a niche and a market for everybody, and the thing is each year hundreds of jobs go unfilled because there's not enough folks filling those positions.
Yep.
So, it really shouldn't matter one way or the other. Find your niche, get out there, be the best you can, and, try to keep your rates reasonable enough. How many times have you guys heard, well, I got so busy this year that I raised my prices, hoping that would slow down the folks, new folks especially, coming into the industry looking for a Santa, and will bypass me and go to someone who's not charging as much as I am. So that's kind of on the other hand with different price structures, because I've heard this time and time again. Well, I raised my prices, but I'm more busy this year than I was last year, which is a theory that doesn't sound right. I mean, when you on the face of it, how can I be more busy if I raise my prices? Well, because folks think you're worth more.
and that's and if you've been there a couple years and you raised it just because, I mean, it's time to raise it, they still want you back if you did a good job. So
Yep.
they don't take a chance also on a new Santa or new Mrs. Claus or whoever. You're worth it. We're we put a lot into this.
Folks go into looking for a Santa, Mrs. Claus, Elf, a bunny rabbit, whatever performer they're looking for whatever event, party, corporate event, whatever. They've got in mind what they have in their budget to start with, number one. Number two, some people are just going to go for cheaper. Some people are going to look for the entertainer they can get for what they can get for what they have to spend that's in their budget. And others are going to say, I'm going after the best. I want this to be the best experience it can be. I'm looking for the best professional person I can find, and I don't care what they cost. So that's the difference from A to Z, as Randy likes to say. I kind of threw that in there.
Wow, that's cool. Wow, that was a good one there.
Too bad it didn't lead into your segment, but it will later.
Okay, it works.
So part two of the question is it ethical for Santas to offer low-cost events that undercut full-time professionals?
Say,
And once again, I will say that it depends on the market, because some events just require someone in a chair to take photos. What I think is not ethical is if you're calling up other Santas and pretending to hire them and then basing your rates
Right.
on that. And
Yeah.
that happen. We've also had in my neck of the woods a couple of Santas, because a lot of Santas post on social media, reach out to the events on social media and just say, hey, look, I saw you had this person this year. I can do it for less.
Yeah, see, that's very unethical. That's very unethical to try to undercut that way, try to steal the job away, or to check, like you said, check to see what everybody's paying. Okay, they're getting $150 an hour. I'll tell the client 125 or whatever it is. Just to get that is unethical.
Yep.
Um, yeah, very, very, and some accounts clients only have that $100. And
Yep.
if they only have that $100, they're going to find the $100 Santa. That's as much as they can do, and
Yep.
that's fine. That's fine. But don't just okay. Well, I know Bob gets 150. I'm going to say 125, so I get his job. That is not ethical at all.
Yep.
That's,
I just find that if we can't make something work for a client because they simply can't afford it, and it's usually due to travel expenses and mileage, because it's going to be an hour's worth of travel to get to the gig or the job. We will then pass it on to someone who might be a little more local to that person, and they can arrange something that might be a little more stuff. So we will work with them to find someone who they might be able to afford. But
It is surprising how many you made a very good point about travel time. Surprising how many clients don't understand. Well, you're only here for an hour. You're only here for an hour for that 150 or 200, whatever it is. But that hour is really 2 hours before, hour and a half, 2 hours after. That's not just that's 1 hour sitting in the chair. You have to look at your time, and a lot of clients don't understand that there still is that I can't get another date or a booking for be 2 hours after, hour after, or before. So it's
and if you have to be in the car for 2 hours after that gig getting to your next gig, that's 2 hours where you're not working. So
those are all very good points. And to what Phineas was saying, being a true professional in our industry would mean to be able to do exactly what Phineas says. If you can't do it for that price, find someone in your neighborhood, in your neck of the woods, in your city, in your town that might be able to do it for less. Maybe they have less overhead. Maybe they're closer to the event, as Phineas said. Let's grab some of these comments. We got Barry Spencer says, I keep it private, referring to his posting whether or not. This is a big one. I'm going to throw it on the screen. Randyl, this is going to cover you up for a minute.
go ahead, do it. Gotta do it.
Santa Doug says, Jenny Kringle and I post our prices up front. Being transparent with our pricing lets people know if they can afford us or not, and saves us time answering that question. Great point. How much do you charge? Plus, it positions us as professionals and helps us attract clients who want a professional, as we mentioned earlier. Some people only shop by price and ignore experience and quality. And then there are some people who won't inquire about pricing at all if it isn't listed. Usually undercutting comes from either a new performer entering the market and are not understanding the cost, or just a hobby Santa charging lower rates. Most people lack an understanding about professional cost, or even that there is a difference between a professional Christmas performer and a hobbyist. Being upfront with your pricing is only half the battle. You also need to explain to the client what that they are getting for that price. Another good point there, Doug. And yes, in our Sat Bob's course, we have a whole chapter on this particular segment and about hobbyists, the difference between a hobbyist and a professional. So I will be up in Michigan here in a couple of months putting on the Sat Bob's class. And so if you need to hear more about that, you can come to the class and check it out.
Yeah, like
the next one, guys.
Trish Wisniewski says she keeps her rates private. Each event requires negotiation based on needs. And John Schnagelberger comments that his group has a general amount they all use as a starting point. They all price based on what they want, but they're also just looking for a quick ballpark number. It helps just to have a quick number.
Very true. Randy, catch that one?
I don't have to consider this with working for Chips, CHP.
Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill, yeah. But if I did, I would probably keep it private because I treat each event as special. And
Yeah,
yeah, most people who do big box stores or Cherry Hill or Nationwide or whatever, big box, they you don't have to worry about that as much. It's just
well, and for me, even though I do work for Cherry Hill, I also do outside events, so it goes both ways. I don't have to worry about it on the days I'm working with Cherry Hill at my regular job, but then anything I do outside of that, then of course you fall back into that same category of where pricing and chasing the contract and traveling from point A to point B and so forth and so on, things that we've talked about before. David Melmine has one here.
There's always someone who tells you they can buy a Santa suit at Walmart for $30. Keep our prices to us so we can connect live with potential clients who are serious about having a real Santa. And that's basically it. Is that David and I work together regularly, and our conversations, we talk about what their needs are. We talk about what we can do from them, and usually when they find out that we do more than just hey, Santa comes, he sits in the chair, we hand out gifts and pose for pictures. That's when we can then talk about pricing. And yeah, we sometimes do get the I got the Walmart suit for $60, and it's just like, good on you. Enjoy the Walmart suit.
Better not go do it.
Yep. Yep.
for those of you who uses Gig Salad, you don't have to worry about posting price. It's on your page. Yeah, so Gig Salad automatically, if somebody wants to undercut you, they can go to Gig Salad, and there's thousands of Santa and Mrs. Clauses on there, or magicians, whatever, to see what if they want to do that. But that has to be on there just because that's the way the website is laid out.
And John has a point here. He says he don't because it's hard to plan for distance and what they want. But some guys do like to put their base price out there that gives them a starting point. And, for me, my price has always been negotiable, always.
I treat pricing as a conversation because I want to find out what their needs are,
Yeah.
and if we can tailor what we can give them, maybe we can give them a cut because maybe it's just a quick, 5-minute drive by. I just need to show up and be grumpy uh, and poke fun at the dad and the grandpa because they're being mean to the kiddos or something like that, or it could be hey, we've got they want us to be there for 3 hours and do like a full show with sing along and the whole 9 yards, and so yeah, it's a conversation more than anything else.
I know
And
Charlie
like Gary says, Spangle and Planet Santa have his disposable income, so
Boy, that happens.
yeah, real quick.
We all know that feeling. Trish says some people are financially able to work for free, others can't. None of us should judge others for how they are running their business. Very true, Trish. Great point. Let's see if we got any more in here. We do. Here's one from Bill.
I have a base rate plus travel time plus requirements to my events, giveaways, items, and rentals, etc.
It's another thing that plays into the cost of things is
Yeah,
giveaways.
Giveaways. That's Don says I belong to a group, but I don't use a booking agent. I'm to the point that starting out to cut back on my visits, but I have a regular customer base, and I'm leaving enough open time, and I should have something happen in one of my fellow Santas. I can fill in, and when I do fill in, I try to make sure that Santa and I get about 20% of whatever fee we collect. Okay, I'm sorry. Basically, if he can't do it, he just takes a little cut. And that's okay because he wants to cut back a little bit. And we all know about cutting back.
Undercutting is unethical.
Charlie Johnson states that he posts ranges on his website, but every client is negotiated individually. And yeah, it's good to have ranges. So
John's got a good point too. He says the market is so stressed that we have to cut each other's throat, then we need to look at another market.
Yeah, that's just not the Santa way. It really isn't. It's not the.
It's not. That's not Santa-like at all.
It's not Santa-like at all.
Ernie's been a Santa for 7 years, and his rate is up there, but I don't worry. I've been so busy, and I do several charity events that end up getting me more work. And it all works out in the end. It's good point earning, and that's the best way to model your business right there.
We have to give back to a point. We really do. I mean, that just it says, I'm aware of Santa who charges from the moment they leave the door until they re-enter the door. It's kind of like we were saying earlier. It still is time. You got a 2-3 hour drive or whatever it is, or like Vinny said, 5 minutes away, no big deal. But
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
But it all adds up in the in the long run. So, all right, that was a good segment. As always, we played that one through, and okay, just catching that one there that Joseph had put up.
Yeah, there was 2 more that just popped up. So.
I will give a ballpark range, but then I'll follow it with it depends on more specifics to the event. Very true, Trish, because there's variables in everything that we do, so you have to build that in sometimes. All right, let's go ahead, Angela, and jump into our lead-in video for the santascloset.org. Hi, Phineas. See if you can tickle and tease their brain a little bit on this one.
So, for this week's brain teaser is in the song Winter Wonderland, what do we call the snowman? A. Parson Brown, B. Frosty, C. Jolly, D. Mr. Snow.
That's right, and that is for the gift that comes from santascloset.org, Wade and Scarlett Kaufman over there. And again, if you are the winner, your name goes in time out for 2 months. That's 8 weeks now, and instead of 6, we've extended that to 8 weeks. And I spoke last week, and I'll mention this again on tomorrow night's show because it was last Tuesday when I said it. That does not pertain. The 8 weeks off and timeout does not pertain to the drawing for the scholarships. So you can win as many times as you can win and get your name put in the hat for the scholarships. So, and the second half of this question will be for your name in the hat for North Pole Cornerstones for 2027. Again, you can win as many times as you can on that one.
I have a question. If somebody misspelled it, is that okay?
What?
Kane Smith. He accidentally put Pardon Smith. It was probably autocorrect.
Yeah, probably is. I'd say it's good.
Okay.
All right, Phineas, catch the second half.
Okay, so the second half is for your admission into the North Pole Cornerstones scholarship. What year was the song Winter Wonderland written? 1926, 1953, 1943, 1934.
Very good. Hope everyone's liking the multiple choice. The producer's idea to come up with that, make it easier on her and everyone. That way it gives you a clue of what you're looking for instead of having to go blindly start doing searches on your search engine. This gives you a base to jump off of with your parachute.
I've seen fill-ins with 5 different words that you've got to get. Come on, Bob.
Those were tough. Those were
crazy
hard. And that was kind of by design because we were having winners that were winning over and over. And Wade was saying, well, but you got the same winners every week. Fix it where there's a bigger pool of winners. Okay, well, we'll try, and that didn't work either. So we come up with this idea, and so far, after a week, it seems to be working pretty good. So,
and now we got 8 weeks between winners on the prize part, not the scholarship, just on the prize. I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Angela, let's move along.
Real quick, I'm going to pop up this one comment.
Okay.
Prize speed does not always equate to talent.
This is very true, Mr. Mack. You are so true on that. And, that's something that Jeff and many of us who have schools and teach, we try to bring it to the forefront every time that the subject is mentioned because, again, some guys out there that are new to the industry and they think they can jump right out and charge $350 for a half hour visit. They go over, they're a big disappointment. That hurts the whole industry. That makes the whole industry look as if you're price gouging and you're low on talent, low on experience, doesn't equate to what you charge or what you're charging at the moment. So always look at what you give, what the customers take away. And I would say, Deanna Golden has beat this into my head, but after visit, after class, after school, questionnaires really help the teacher, the performer, whoever understand what their clients liked, what they didn't like, what they want more of. So reach out to your client, be it email, be it a questionnaire, be it a phone call, and find out how you perform, what they thought, and tell them to be brutally honest with you. That way, that you'll know where to increase your knowledge, your performance, and or decrease your price. Anything to add to that, guys?
Totally agree.
Yep.
All right, Angie, let's move
All
on.
right.
All right, this segment's brought to you by NorthPoleCornerstones.com, Oklahoma City, 2027. Be watching for the date. Over to you, Randall.
Yeah, this just in to the studios from Chatterbox Elf News. We've got so much going on. Be sure to watch to save the day for the announcements for round 4 to be held in February of 2024. 4 times they've already been there. 2 years in San Antonio, right, and 1 year in Oklahoma. Now back there again. It was a great place. You can't miss it because it is totally different than most than schools out there. You do a lot of hands-on, a lot of group work. So look for those dates coming up this week. Set your clocks to watch Santa's Magical Fellowship and the Polar Opposites during their debut show here in 2026 season. Watch Thursday evening at 6 and Central, 7 Eastern, for the big announcement about the major change on Polar Opposites. It's going to be a cool few new different hosts. It's going to be amazing. But that's something new for 2026. So many great things going on here on the TNL Network News. And every week we'll keep you up to date on what's happening.
Very good. Next, we're going to go to Digging Deeper with Phineus, and that's brought to you by thermapparel.com and holidayphotomagic.com. Over to Angela.
Good day, everybody. So, as I hinted last week, I am going to be starting on a series about building your North Pole. Part of the concept to building your North Pole is so you have the answers at hand like that. So, when you get asked, where do the reindeer sleep or where do the elves sleep? You have those answers at hand like that. You're not thinking, so you are able to paint a picture as to what your North Pole looks like. We all don't operate with on Zoom, and we can't bring up the virtual backgrounds or our practical backgrounds. But when we're visiting with folks, you may get a child asking, um, where do you keep your suits? Where do you keep the red suits? What does the North Pole look like? Is it a factory? Is it a village? What does it look like? And this will be something that you can build for yourself. It doesn't have to be in agreement with anybody else, um, because if you look at the Santa Claus, if you looked at Red One, if you looked at some of the other more recent movies, the Christmas Chronicles, each one of them has a different North Pole. If you look at the Polar Express movie, it has a different North Pole, as did Elf. So each version of the North Pole is as unique and different as the people who created it. So you've created your persona as your Christmas character, be it Santa, Mrs. Claus, and Elf, the mean green guy. So why don't you create a North Pole that is uniquely your own too, but make it consistent so you have a consistent picture in your head as to what it looks like. So you are able to answer those questions at the spur of a moment. And in the case that you do get the return customers, the return children, the return visitors, sometimes when you're at a mall or at the big box store and you get repeat customers, you'll get individuals who want to continue on the story and find out more about the North Pole. So I'm going to start out at something that's going to frustrate about 99% of you because that's what I do. When you wake up, and when I'm talking about you, when I'm talking about Santa or Mrs. Claus, what does your bedroom look like? Do you have a big four-poster bed that you sleep in? Um, do you have a wardrobe, like a big cabinet that you keep all your clothing in? Is there a closet? What's on your bedside stand? Is it a glass of milk and a plate of cookies? Is it a book? What was it that you were reading? What kind of lamp do you have on your bedside table? You won't get asked about anything about this, but at the same time, this will begin starting painting the picture. Is your bedroom in a log cabin? So do you have the log walls? Is there a fireplace? When you put your feet down on the floor, is it carpet? Is it a rug? Is it a bearskin rug? Or is it a hardwood floor? What are you walking on? And being able to begin building this from the simple aspect of what does your bedroom look like also answers what kind of Santa are you? Are you a rustic Santa that lives in a log cabin with Mrs. Claus and whatever children or pets they have? Are you in a modern building and it's white walls like in the Santa Claus? That's a somewhat modern building. So does that mean your North Pole is a modern operation? By starting with this, you are starting to build your story one step at a time, and you're going to build something that is consistent. So if you're looking at a modern operation a la the Santa Claus or the Christmas Chronicles, that will dictate what your bedroom looks like. And yes, the concept of what Santa's bedroom looks like is very niche. But let's start small and then we can build bigger. So for instance, when you walk out of your bed and you go to your closet, are your red suits hanging in that closet? Or is it your day-to-day clothes? Is it your work? Do you wear slippers when you walk around the house? Do you wear a nightcap and a nightgown a la Pa from 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? Is it an old-timey look that you have? And again, this is all starting based on who you are as Santa. And if you're going to be methodical and deliberate about this, it will allow you to build a consistent and constant image that you will be able to paint for the individuals. Phineas always gets asked, where do I live at the North Pole? Because, because Mr. and Mrs. Claus raised me, but do I live with them? And the answer is, well, no, I'm a grown elf now, so I live on my own. But at the same time, I'm too big to live in the elf dormitory, so I have my own little cabin at the North Pole. And yes, it is a log cabin that I live in because I am basically a lumberjack. So if I want to add on to where I'm living, I am able to chop down the trees. So when Phineas wakes up, he wakes up in a very simple bed, and he looks up and he sees the walls of the log cabin. He's got a beautiful handmade quilt that Mrs. Claus made for him that covers his bed and keeps him warm at night because it is cold at the North Pole. But at the same time, he doesn't have a fireplace in his bedroom, but he does have an airtight stove that keeps the bedroom toasty warm all winter long. But it also doesn't use a lot of wood because that just means he's got to cut down trees. And so it's all very specific, but at the same time, it builds into who Phineas is. And when I'm able to paint a picture starting with that, I'm able to create a story that will continue moving on down. And people will begin seeing what the North Pole for Phineas and ostensibly Santa looks like. And that way we are able to create a consistent and a uniform picture between Santa David and myself. And so we know that when we ask, what does the North Pole kitchen look like? Where does Santa keep his red suits? Does he wear his workshop clothing in the house? The answer to that is no, because Mrs. Claus would kill him if he tracked in sawdust into the house. We've got answers ready like that. So if the moment you start building something and you are able to paint the picture in your mind, you will be able to paint the picture in their mind and continue to keep them believing as you have your North Pole building. So we're going to move on from Santa's bedroom and looking into the rest of the house next week. Thank you, Kane. Kane has started building an entire Santa's Village public works specialty shops with names, addresses, and owners. As for himself, he owns several homes around the world, but focused mainly on his life at the North Pole and Rovaniemi, Finland. Each location has its own unique details. And that is what you can do. You can keep it as detailed as you want, or you can keep it as general as you want. But at the same time, you've got to be able to answer those questions like that. Thank you, Eric and Mo. This really isn't an assignment. This is just something that I'm going to go through my thought processes. And if you'd like, we can eventually start building a North Pole that we can build together. So we can talk about that later. Wonderful.
Ho, 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 ho!
Shop Thermo Apparel. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. And for the coolest of cool Santas or Easter bunnies, remember Thermo Apparel.
Don't just be cool as an attitude. Keep cool, literally.
Thermo Apparel! Be cool! Ho, 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 ho!
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for allowing me to take this time for the magical performance. I'll get it out. I talked briefly about showing you some things that are very easy to make that can enhance your Santa, Mrs. Claus, or Elf character during the thing. Now, I've talked about it for years. Since I do magic, and I've done magic for 50 some years, that, of course, is my major part of my character. And of course, Santa, Mrs. Claus, and Elf, who else is more magical than they are? Now, Santa's not a magician. We all know that. He's not going to make somebody float or besides his sleigh and his reindeer, but he's not going to saw somebody in half. But magical things always happen around and fun things too, since I've tried to build my character as kind of the funnier Santa, the more gregarious or outgoing Santa. I take some magic props that are fun to use as clowning and magic, but adapt them towards Santa. And I'm going to get started on a couple things about, since I did talk about magic. Well, of course, a magician uses a magic wand. Well, Santa would never use a magic wand like that. It's just not the character. It's not the look. Even though it's glitzy, it's not the look. Take a few moments. If you do want to, just make it red and white. Now, again, Santa probably wouldn't use a magic wand as is, but there's different kind of magic wands Santa can use. Santa can use candy cane magic wand. Santa can use one of these. Beautiful little candy cane. Now, this is a candy cane that tells children if they've been good or not. Now, only let me know if you see it raise. If it raises, that means you've been good. If it raises, oh, you saw it raise, but that's only if you saw it raise. Can you tell me if you've been good? Now, if it raises, it's a magical thing that looks like a candy cane, and I'll tell you in a minute how it's done. But it's just something you can practice and have in your bag to even talk about being on naughty or nice list, or just get the children riled up. Oh, I didn't see the candy cane rise. I did. And it's made with a tube from Home Depot, made with a tube, plastic tube, a little bit of elastic, two buttons, one on this end and one on this end that's glued down. So basically you just have a strip and it just will, I get the film, it'll just slide up your hand. It'll look like it's raising, but it still will look like, it looks like a candy cane. It fits the character. It fits Mrs. Claus or Santa that's doing it, or an elf. And again, it costs, well, you need these two things. You need white spray paint and red electrical tape. These are another ones like this. I just love this. Wait a minute. This is, of course, the magic version of it. This is the magic version of it. You go to a child and do a magic show. You have a magic wand that falls apart. Well, again, it's not what Santa would use. Santa would not use a magic wand, or Mrs. Claus or an elf would not. But I could see Phineas handing out this candy cane and if breaking apart when he hands it to a child. It just is, make your props that fit your what you're doing. It looks like a candy cane, but of course it's just what it is these are, you would have to get them on eBay or wherever. This is a plastic one for $3.99 plus shipping, so it costs about $7. Again, white spray paint and red electrical tape. Then you have a wand that you can keep in your bag, and you get giggles out of the children when they grab it, and of course it falls apart. No, it's just like this. Now you hold it. It's a fun little routine that magicians have been used for a long time, but don't use it as a magic wand. Use it as a candy cane. It's character. It works for the character. And this is the one. Same thing. This I don't know. I had a red one like this, but same thing. Was a story I did years ago. When the elf would come in and say, "Santa, I've got a magic wand," they would just wave it, and all the children's dreams would come true. Of course, Santa gets all excited about that. So the elf's going, "Wave the magic wand, wave the magic wand." And of course, you wave the magic wand, and but it just didn't seem to work because, again, it's a magic wand, but maybe it can work. But I took it a step further, and same thing. I made it into a candy cane. It's the exact same thing. You just painted it. Now, funny that is, there are springs you can get at Home Depot, white spray paint and red electric. You just buy these little springs. It's just a spring, and it gives the same fun. And if you do a whole story about then Santa laughs and the elves tease Santa. And I always made a comment that don't do that to Mrs. Claus because Mrs. Claus doesn't taste teasing well. It's just another prop that you can make look wise, inexpensively, that fits the character. One more, too quick. Again, looks like a magic wand. Now, this one I'm not going to do because I'll make a mess in my office. But what it is you can see in the center here, there is pieces of confetti. This is just a plastic tube from Home Depot. Same thing, sprayed it white, wrapped it in red. This is fun at the end when you leave and what you do is you shake it. All this confetti comes out. You have a confetti cannon, but it actually is a candy cane. These are a bunch of props that you can make very inexpensively. Keep them with you. You don't have to use them all the time. Just now and then to add them in for some fun and everything else. Inexpensive to make, not real magic, but a little bit of magic, and just helps get that giggle and fun out of the children. It's always great to leave, especially you got to leave after you leave all this confetti someplace. You have to leave because, oh my goodness, don't want to have to clean that up. But they're easy to make items that can just add that little extra. Because what Santa does is amazing around the world in one night and gifts and everything else. So if you can put a little face-to-face or upfront magic with the children like that, it's fun. But these are a few problems. You can IM me anything. We can go through step to step how to make them or what they're totally made out of. But it's mainly plastic piping from Home Depot. This is a magic wand. You got to get on eBay. Spray paint and duct tape, but make it look like it fits the character. If it's an elf using it, Santa using it, whoever, it's style it to your character. But just a quick one there. Don't want to run too far over time. We got so many things to talk about this year from A to Z. I started kind of late. I think I already started in the W's, so I don't know if that's going to work. But IM me anytime if I can walk through this thing with you. I have information about them. How to make this is one about the confetti cannon I already have ready to go and confetti wand. So let me know. Thank you again. Love you all. See you soon. Don't miss all the shows all week.
And Magical A to Z is brought to you by King Risk Partners and Caboose. I want to thank everyone today for that. And wow, guys, just wow. I sat here in the green room with my bottom jaw hanging on my desk on what fantastic segments. Now, real quick to finish this point, I do have a lot of children at the mall ask me, what does the North Pole look like? So to that, without getting too crazy with it, I just tell them or ask them frankly if they have seen the movie Santa Claus, and if they have, that the North Pole looks like that they hired an actor, Tim Allen, because Santa was too busy toy production and running the North Pole to do a movie, so they hired a professional actor, Tim Allen, to do that movie, and they came to the North Pole to film it. So when you're looking at the movie, you're seeing the North Pole, and it kind of takes the heat off of Santa. I don't have time to get into it too deep, But I tell you what, Phineas, talking about all the different aspects of answers, possibilities, things that you can come up with to build in that backstory to keep children captivated. Fantastic segment. Randall, you must carry a tractor trailer full of treasure troves with you when you go to do a visit.
Nah, it's usually always one bag. I'll make a change now and then on certain things. Yeah, I always just have a one. Like, oh, I gotta find that bag again because I'll be needing that. I know where it's at. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's just one I will take things in and out. But it's fun. Yeah, like Phineas said, it's a great way to look around and to know exactly what your house looks like, what the shop looks like, what your bedroom looks like, what the stable looks like. That's all of our backstory, just as much as how you and Mrs. Claus met and everything else in between. And if you want to take it from the movie, which is great, just watch the movie a couple times and do that to memory, so you can rattle that off right away. As long as it's convincing and sounds sincere to the children, it doesn't matter if it's a sleigh bed or a race car bed or your coats are hanging up or not. I always make a joke that Mrs. Claus gets so mad at me when I drop the coats on the floors, and she has to pick them up. So yeah, I always throw those little things in there for that. If they ask about your home, just to let them giggle a little bit. Oh yeah, Santa gets in trouble too for not hanging his coat up.
Yeah, I always throw in a little fun part for the children there. Absolutely. Santa Scott had a good point there. Please, when you reach out to any of our contributors that help put on any of our shows, not just ours, but all of them across the board, all the TNL network shows, let them know that you heard about them on TNL. That way they'll know that they're getting the bang for their buck. Okay, let's jump into our trivia answer. The sleigh bell brain teaser this week in the song Winter Wonderland. What did we call the snowman? Answer to that was A, Parsons Brown. Our winner was?
Kane Smith.
Kane Smith gets that one. Kane, you get the gift. Unless you've changed addresses, I've still got your address from last year, and we'll get you something out there from Santa's Closet.
I don't know if we have his T-shirt size.
I don't know if we do either. Kane, I haven't talked to Wade to see if he's sending T-shirts this year or not. I'll have to double check with that. But go ahead and send us your T-shirt size. That way we'll know. And I'll just go ahead and send it over to Wade. Maybe that'll encourage him to send you a T-shirt too. All right, and our answer to the clause and effect bonus round. What year was the song Winter Wonderland written? That would be 1934. Which is kind of special because that was my father's birth year. So fantastic. Our winner there.
Paul Anderson.
Paul Anderson's name goes into the hat for the drawing for NPC, North Pole Cornerstones, Oklahoma City, 2027. Okay, let's go ahead and roll our Cherry Hill Programs promo here. If you've ever thought about being a chair Santa, a mall Santa, reach out to Cherry Hill Programs and put your name and hat there. You can work as little as you want, as much as you want. They have positions from 1 day all the way up to full season. And try it. You might like it. I did. 13 years later, here I am, So, all right, let's jump into our North Pole nightcap. Guys, how about you finish? You got any takeaways from today?
Well, I will thank Randall for reminding me of the breakaway candy cane because I do have one as well. Because when we do hand out those pesky candy canes that we always get from the companies that we're working with, we all know about 95% of them are broken. And nobody ever wants to get a broken candy cane, but because I've got the breakaway candy cane, I'm usually able to say, hey, just because it's broken like this one and it falls apart in my hand, I said, it doesn't change the taste. It just makes it easier for you to eat without getting your hands all sticky.
Good point.
Usually able to convince a child to take a broken candy cane because, as I say, especially those little ones that are about 2 inches long, they're all broken. I'm sorry.
They are always.
I don't understand why they don't they don't want them broke. There's no difference in taste. They're easier to eat.
Well, they're just going to break them anyways, right?
They're gonna break. They usually do that quick, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, see, I could see Phineas then teasing somebody with something like that.
Yep.
Well, I tell you now, you got me going down a rabbit hole. I had a friend I grew up with, and we would go out to eat, and we would go to a cafeteria, and you go through the line and you get, all the different things that you want. And he would sit down and he would always save his meat till last, but he would always start with one item and eat it, move to the next item, eat it, move to the next item and eat it. And I used to ask him, I said, man, don't you realize all that goes down the same tube and ends up in the same belly? Some people have to have their food separated. It can't touch each other on the plate.
I was going to say, is he one of the ones who couldn't have his food touching on the plate?
Some people can't let the food touch. Yeah, some people are that crazy they can't let the food touch on the plate.
Exactly. Randy, you got any final thoughts or takeaways from today?
Can't believe it's another season starting the second show of the year
Already.
and already starting there, and we got a Monday happy hour time is always great together. And thank everybody, Bob, Phineas, Angela back there, for always putting this together, and everybody that's joins us. It's can't be more thankful for everybody.
Well, last week was a little hard. It was kind of like you jump out of the winter and you jump right back into the fire, and you feel a little rusty. And this week it just seemed everything fell together, everything flowed. Putting the shows together and then putting today's show on, it just felt like a old pair of drawers. Just fits well.
As long as they're clean, that's okay.
All right. We want to also mention that Santa's Family Magical Fellowship Group in Polar Opposites, March 12th, this week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, actually now. And we'll be their debut, so it'll be both shows combined for the first week, and then the week after that, we will start off with the Polar Opposites on the 19th, and then jump back to SMFG for the 26th, and vice versa. Every other week, those will be bi-weekly shows now. First week, though, March 12th, is a combined show of both. All right. Don't forget to watch all of the 2026 family of shows. Tune in, kick up your heels, and join in the fun, all powered by TNO Network Productions. One last thought here. Let's see. Small broken ones are for hot chocolate. Very good point, John. Very good point. And
hi, Kitty.
Let's see here. Let's throw this one up, Angela.
Go ahead.
Great show, Barry. Thank you.
Great show from Barry.
Thanks
This
for
is the
joining
one
us.
I was looking for. Watch for TNL on the road, and where you can find members of the TNL family and stop by and say hello. Come meet us in person. Good point, Santa Scott. Always there to remind us of what we need to do. Bill says, fantastic job. Show, everyone. Grateful for all the sharing, and I am too. Everyone have a great week. Be sure and check us out tomorrow night, because we got a new person that many of you may not know. So introduce this person to you, and I just got to say we love their brand of crazy, and we'll leave it at that. Thanks, everyone.
Good night. Stay mad.
Buddy.
Good night, or not good night. Well,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon.